So what's going on, guys? It's Philly Day 1. And OTA started yesterday and continued on to the day. We won't see OTAs until the 29th, where they will have one practice on the 29th. We did 7-on-7s. I think we did 9-on-7s, and then we did 11-on-11s. And the guys who were no shows in OTAs at all, AJ Brown, of course. Sorry about that. Lane Johnson, as he continued, I think he's still rehabbing. Jalen Carter, who's also still rehabbing. Vic Fangio has said that he looks better though. He's not 100%, but he looks better. Jahai Campbell, who is also still rehabbing, and Dontavian Wicks. These guys did not show up to OTAs at all. It is not mandatory to be at OTAs, but it kind of helps to get to the new system. I don't think anybody from this outside of Lane Johnson and Dontavian Wicks has to learn something very quickly. You know, the offense has a new offensive coordinator, so they got to learn something a little quicker than the defense. The defense had the same scheme last year. So I think everybody else should be pretty good. Mekhi Lemon had a pretty good OTA from what I'm seeing. From what I'm hearing, what I'm seeing, Mekhi Lemon had a pretty good OTA. We started him off very fast. Michael Clay is somebody who talked about Mekhi Lemon taking some snaps at punt return and kick return. He did this at USC. So this would be, just seeing how Michael Clay would like it done in the NFL will be the only difference with Mekhi Lemon. Him getting in to the offense he's about to run with Sean Mannion and Jalen Hurts, this stuff is very good. It's very good that he's here. That way he can learn as quick as possible how to get this in, how Jalen Hurts want to get the ball out, what he should be expecting for. Jalen Hurts is very renowned for back shoulder throws and deep balls, and that's something Mekhi Lemon got to get down real quick. If you're gonna work with Jalen Hurts. So we're gonna talk about some of the things that he was doing in his OTAs. He had some ups and he had some downs. He is a rookie, so give him a little grace. There's nobody who comes out and just that nice their first year. Give him a little grace. So we're gonna talk about him a little later on. We got a wide receiver, and if you follow me at Philly Day 1 on YouTube, man, you know that I'm not a fan of this guy getting any reps. But we got a wide receiver who's getting a lot of notoriety of where he started. So we're gonna get into that in the video. We had Andy Dalton and Tanner McKee actually competing for not compete. Well, I guess it is competition. They actually split some time with the second teams, and Andy Dalton was up first when it came to the second team offense. So we're gonna talk about that a little more in depth. What my opinions of this is and how we're gonna go about it. Also we got two cornerbacks. And I would say that they made some plays. We're going to talk about which two corners it was, what the defensive scheme was. Not the defensive scheme. What the defense kind of looked like on the field altogether. And Andrew Makuba. Andrew Makuba looked really good after the ankle injury. Ankle fracture. He was moving around and he looked really, really good. So we also got Jalen Hurts finally addressing AJ Brown's trade rumors. So let's get into it. first get into AJ Brown addressing these trade rumors, man. Well, he didn't really say too much of nothing. He was very Jalen Hurts about it, but it kind of seemed like he was wishing him well. This is what he said.
If AJ is traded, how would that affect the offense? How would that affect you?
Picked the right question to sip on, huh? I think for us, we're focused on learning the offense. It really doesn't change in terms of our approach to improve. There's an if. Obviously, been a lingering thing, but nothing can replace all the greatness that we achieved together.
That is the most we've gotten out of Jalen Hurts when it came to AJ Brown and rumors of him being traded. Everything was true. He didn't really go outside himself, speak for him, any of those things. But all of that stuff was true. Can't erase with the greatness they did together. You know what I'm saying? They had some good moments. Last season they had good moments. I think it was overshadowed by the fact that the not much effort by AJ Brown when he kind of reached his boiling point. But it was still some big time plays. The Rams game, man, the Raiders game. He had some big time. AJ Brown had big time plays. And it just won't get noticed because of everything on the back end. Twitter fingers, the streaming with Rondo, all these things is gonna take away from he having that pretty good game. A pretty good season. With the offense being as bad as it was, it is kind of extraordinary that he still had that really good season. It's like we had to really go get Devontae Smith his 1,000 yards. So he started off fast. We're not gonna get into that right now, but he started off fast, and it could have been better with better play calls and stuff like that. But here we are in a new season, man, and it sounds like he is wishing him well. And he is off to business like AJ is normally is. I don't think that it should be any bad press for the way he answered that question. But then again, he's Jalen Hurts and in Philly. Somebody will find something to say about how he answered that question. Okay. Mekhi Lemon, while we on the offense, Mekhi Lemon, he was with the starters, opposite of Devontae Smith. Yeah, he on 7-on-7s, he was opposite of Devontae Smith. He was not in the slot either. He had a catch from a hitch route, and he dropped the ball. He dropped a ball right from a crossing route, a short crossing route, a little drag or something like that. He dropped that ball, but then he caught a hitch route. So he had little ups and downs. I don't expect him to come out and be Devontae Smith type of season. You know what I'm saying? Because the attributes are different. I think Devontae Smith game just equated to the NFL. Like it's a smooth transition for Devontae Smith's game more so than Mekhi Lemon game. So he caught those balls from Jalen Hurts. So I think it was pretty solid. We had Johnny Wilson taking first team snaps as well. I think Johnny Wilson is in there they love his blocking. I don't know if that blocking is that good for me to have Johnny Wilson out there. Johnny Wilson is one of our players that misses wide open. Like he drops wide open passes. He don't play his size. He don't run routes well. He was supposed to be pretty fast. I've never seen his speed. Like as long as he's been here, we've never seen his speed. And I honestly believe Danny Gray will get that spot that Johnny Wilson wants, or that they have him pegged for. Danny Gray will probably get that spot. He just performs better, So Johnny Wilson he took the reps. He had the first team reps. Maybe they're just trying stuff out. Saquon Barkley actually took some passing route reps. And you know what? Saquon Barkley had something to say about last season, and pretty much like he was in season, he felt like it was all on him. He got to be better, and there's times where Saquon Barkley probably should just hit the hole. But it's frustrating. It's frustrating when you got a hole and it closes how it closes. This offensive line was beat up, and when you got a hole and it closes the way it closed, it's a reason. It's a good reason to be frustrated. You know what I'm saying? When you could have hit some of those home. So I get that, and he'll put it right on his back and won't think twice about it. He went so far as to saying, he was trying to figure out how to get better, and he went and contact Todd Gurley, kind of see what he was doing when he was in his prime. So I'm gonna let him tell you.
Sure. There's a lot of guys that do it in the system right now, but one guy that I've been focused on and talked to him a little bit over Instagram, Todd Gurley, watching kind of his film. Obviously, it's a little bit different, but the big years that he had when he was playing, when he was healthy, the way that he attacked it. But I do that no matter what in off season. Watch guys that are in the league right now who I'm fans of, the Bijan, the Gibbs, McCaffrey, Henry, Jonathan Taylor's of the world, and also go back to the OGs and watch them to see what I can add to my game, and just always looking forward to improving my game also.
That's right. Yes. Reached out to Todd Gurley. Saquon is such a classy dude, bro. I don't know what else to say about Saquon. With all that talent, he is so classy. To take on the responsibility of the running game being bad, we were bad as far as a blocking assignment. Like, all of us was bad. Like, the line, I think everybody in this was bad. So it's not all on Saquon Barkley, but he'll say it will. He'll say it is. All right, now let's get into our second teamers. Andy Dalton and Tanner McKee again. They split some of the reps for the second team. Andy Dalton took the first couple reps, and then Tanner McKee took the rest. And Andy Dalton managed to throw himself an interception to Jonathan Jones. Jonathan Jones came out here. I know him from the Patriots, but he was with the quarterbacks coach, the DB coach. He was with the DB coach when he was with the Patriots, and he's still making plays. He's an older guy, and he's still making plays. Hopefully that transition to the game. Not only did he make plays, but Rick Woolen broke up a pass from Jalen Hurts to Devontae Smith, a deep ball, Jalen Hurts to Devontae Smith. It was a little underthrown, but he broke it up. And that's that's good confidence, man. Like, to Jalen Hurts, Devontae Smith have dropped off some of the best corners, some really good corners in this league. And Rick Woolen is pretty much, if you follow me, man, I didn't think he was that good. But he's starting to prove me wrong, and I would love for him to prove me wrong. So we also got, let's do the starting lineups. So everybody was pretty much in their position. You had Cooper DeJean at nickel. You had Marcus Epps at safety. You had Andrew McCouble at safety. And you had Quinyon Mitchell and Rick Woolen on our sides. You had Zach Bond, and then you had Jeremiah Trotter Jr. as the guys. Well, so that's who was the defense. That was on the defense when we was playing. This is 7-on-7? Yeah. 7-on-7, yeah. That was the defense. So, I guess you could have seen that coming with Jahai Campbell not being there. And, him not being there, you had to put the most experienced, the most ready. And Jeremiah Trotter is a baller, man. He's a baller, man. Like, he last season, Jahad Campbell makes big plays last season, but the time in which Jeremiah Trotter had a chance to be in there, he looked solid, really solid. Looked comfortable. He looked solid. And with the way this training camp or the way the OTAs have been going, man, guys look good. They look good. Guys who ain't healthy, they get themselves together to be healthy. So that is really all I got, man. Like, comment, subscribe, turn those post notifications on because y'all missing me. And we out, man. Let's go, Bird.